everyone, welcome back to my channel Victoria Nicola, where I talk about writing and culture and anything else. Today I wanted to kind of keep on the same thread as I started in the last video, where I talk about the 3 biggest hurdles of Russian American writers, at least that I face. And it got me thinking. One of the things that I mentioned in that video are stereotypes, and I wanted to do a video about Russian stereotypes in movies that I really don't like. Hollywood movies and in movies in general, I feel that a lot of Russian characters actually end up being these typical tropey characters that are usually really one-dimensional. And I wanted to talk about a few of those today. So the first stereotype that I just can't stand is
the bad guy.
The bad guy, you know, the mafioso. I mean, I get it, you know, there's reason for that stereotype because the 90s, unfortunately, were really hard on Russia and there were quite a bit of mafias running around. However, I mean, can we really only have villains as Russian guys? I mean, there's like thousands of cultures on the face of this planet. I think we can create bad guys and villains that are not always some maniacal
Russian bad guy who cannot have sense of humor and only drinks a bunch of vodka.
You know, like, that stereotype is so prevalent. And actually, I just recently watched a movie, I think it's something called like The True Stories of an International Assassin. It's actually a really funny comedy action movie. I really liked a lot of the scenes and I liked the story, but there was a character in there that was, of course, a Russian bad guy, and he was the most stereotypical Russian bad guy. Like, not a bone of humanity or kindness or just a bone of extra dimension, like nothing. He was just a bad guy. He shoot everybody, who, like, even his servant who's been with him since he was a child, who like messed up one time and brought him the wrong thing, he just shoots him in cold blood. I mean, come on, like, it cannot be more stereotypical than that. So it was just like another reminder, like, hey, remember that video that you wanted to do? So yeah, it really inspired me to come on here and do this video, because I'm like, come on, we're 21st century, let's create some interesting characters and leave this bad guy trope behind. So I will do a separate video on how you can still use Russians as villains, but at least add certain details that will make it less stereotypical. That's gonna be a separate video. With the communist thing, I didn't want to focus too much on that because I think that that's already a lot of older movies and there's no need to like drudge up the old stereotypes. There's not really much more of that left. You know, I mean, and also it was like a certain era when the Soviet Union existed and the communist threat and blah, 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 all that. So it makes sense why that existed during the time, and we've moved on from that stereotype anyways. So I didn't want to focus too much on that, but you know, I'm looking at you, what's his name? Ivan Drago? Drogo, I always want to call him Drogo from Game of Thrones, but no, the I will break you guy, you know, that dude. I can't tell you how many times, you know, that quote, I've heard that quote. But anyways, the point is that bad guy persona, that super one-dimensional, I will break you kind of character that has no bone of humor, no kindness, no love for anything at all, except usually money and drugs and apparently beautiful ladies, but not like deep ladies, just for one-time use kind of thing. Yeah, that's the character that could we please leave in the 20th century. Okay, thanks. So that's number 1. Number 2 is
the pretty model lady who is femme fatale.
The typical spy who's just this really sexy lady who can kick everybody's you know what, and she will just destroy. She's super thin, right, because she's a model, but she,
Super strong lady, you know, super strong.
that sort of character, I mean, hey, it's a nice little compliment that people always associate beauty with Russian women. That's sweet, but also, again, it's basically the trope of the bad guy just in female form, right? Whereas the bad guy is usually like this bumbling lunatic looking kind of character, whether he's an alcoholic or dumb or just evil looking. He's never quite attractive, right? The dude's never attractive, but the girls, gee, they're just like to die for. So that's just another stereotype that I'm hoping we could also move on and create characters that are more than just this poster model, you know, who's just good at one thing, and that's taking out bad guys. So, or, you know, maybe taking out good guys. Sometimes she's the bad one too. So that's just another stereotype. The third stereotype that I'm not a big fan of is
The alcoholics.
Ivan, Slavik, Andre, let's go. And that whole thing, the first thing that everybody does is take a drink, take a shot, toast to the motherland. That stereotype also needs to go, because so many Russians don't drink at all and are quite intelligent people. So I understand, again, where that stereotype comes from. Again, in the 90s, there's quite a bit of alcoholism because the country completely collapsed. And also, a lot of alcoholism stems from the fact that Russians participated in these crazy world wars, especially the Second World War, and a lot of people died. A lot of villages just were decimated, and just there's like a lot of awful things that happened in the 20th century in Russia. Of course, communism wasn't great either. So basically, there is a reason for a lot of the people who wanted to escape. So vodka was used prevalently. I understand that there's roots and reasons for these stereotypes, but also in the last 20 years particularly, there's been a big movement to health and a healthy lifestyle in Russia. So can you imagine how refreshing it would be if there's like a character who's not a bad guy, who's super healthy, maybe like a doctor, intelligent, but just happens to be Russian? Yay for breaking stereotypes. Stereotype number 4 is
The no smile. You know, the miserable faces. They never smile. They just are so miserable and cold. They got to be cold too.
yet another misconception and stereotype. Yes, Russians don't tend to smile at people they don't know, but they actually are incredibly friendly once you even just start talking to them after like a few sentences. And also, I think this is something people don't know. This is not a common fact if you weren't brought up in Russia or the Soviet Union, is the Soviet Union had some pretty amazing comedies. I think a lot of people ache for humor to surpass a lot of difficulties in life. So there's actually quite a bit of classic comedies that still are watched regularly in a lot of the former Soviet republics. Yeah, so humor is a big part of Russian culture, but that's not something that's actually really known. And I hope for the future that, again, this like miserable Russian character is replaced with, I don't know, it doesn't have to be like jolly jovial Santa Claus, but it could be somebody just with a sense of humor and like sometimes a smile, you know, maybe. So that's another stereotype that I really don't like, that I wish to see broken. And do you have any stereotypes that you're so tired of seeing Russian characters portrayed as? Or are you maybe not Russian, but from some other Slavic culture and you're also tired? I mean, this actually goes to a lot of stereotypes of most Slavic cultures, like whether it's Bulgaria or Serbia or anything of the sort, Ukraine. You immediately, a lot of this gets funneled in. I think I watched a movie one time. If I find it, I'll put it up somewhere in the video. The bad guys, the mafiosos, they weren't Russian, they were Croatian. Wow, these authors really reached for a new bad Slavic type. I mean, Croatian. So like most people just know Croatia for now Dubrovnik, where Game of Thrones has been filmed, and their soccer teams and their beautiful coast. Like really, like you have to go there. You have to be, the Slavs have to be the bad guys. So yeah, I think it kind of crosses all Slavic culture, these stereotypes, but I'm from Russia, so I decided I was just like super focused on Russian stereotypes. If you guys have any, like I said, stereotypes that you feel like you wanted to air out and kind of show people that there could be different perceptions, write them down in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this video, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.